Good afternoon, peoples of the Obvio world. Hey, Muddy. He's out and about for a drive. All right. Nice to see a few people here. We'll get going here in a minute. Check a couple of things. We'll see what we've got. Hey, Justin. All right. So I think we've got one question there from Muddy. Let's have a look here. All right. All right. Muddy's saying, how can I add a credit card? How can I add a client credit card to their organization? So add-ons and SMS costs are charged to their card, to their organization. So we have got add-ons. You must have seen this, Muddy, when you're playing around. You've been able to put a different card in for add-ons. Have you seen that?
I feel like the only thing I have seen is the ability to add multiple cards at the account level and then kind of choose which card gets used, but I don't know if that means all my clients need to give me their credit card information to add to my master account.
I'm just familiarizing myself again with it because we we specifically built it for the purpose you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I thought, which is kind of the root of my question is I thought that was the case,
Sure.
but then when I went to implement it, I couldn't actually find it.
Yep. Fair enough. Yeah, I think it is still probably the where it has a problem is actually entering the credit card information is not like a page that you can just send a client to, but is you entering their information, which I can.
Well, and that's probably okay. Do you know if that? Do you know if the picker, like when I go into add-ons and I pick the credit card, will it show me the name that's on the credit card, or is it just going to give me the last four numbers? And or can I add a nickname, right? Because I may end up having multiple clients' credit cards in there, and I don't want to pick the wrong one.
Yeah. So the key thing is that it is. Where is this? It is at the organization level. So I think one thing, particularly with being on enterprise, is using more organizations than not, right? Like as in using them to group things together, and remembering that it is very easy to move events from organization to organization of your own, that you know your own organizations. You can do that easily just by in the organization view. You can view it when you go to move it. It'll give you a drop down list of all the organizations that you are an owner of, and you can move your events through them. And so I would be using that, as a way to organize your billing.
Are you saying that in the add-ons section of the organization is a way that I can add a card on that page? It's the only place I found to add a card was at the account level, kind of up one level. because with each new client project, I'll create a new organization. So, got a dozen organizations, more than a dozen organizations, but couldn't find that billing thing you're talking about at the organization level. And maybe I just missed it because this is one of the first times I've really had to deal with this. Typically, I just kind of do pass-through billing, right? Like it's
Totally. Yeah. You know what? Now I'm not sure. So, Blue is going to join us in a little bit, and I can we can quiz him about it.
okay. Sounds good. I think I can pick the credit card on the add-in page. So that'll be my
Yeah.
organization, but I'm not sure I can actually add a new card on that page.
No, you can't there. Yeah, we'll talk to Blue about it. I haven't had to do it myself, as in the same way. I've on charged it, but yeah, it was a specific thing being able to do it. Let me just check. Yeah, we'll talk to Blue, and if you have to go, I can let you know what we come up with.
That's fine. I should be okay. I should be able to connect for a while.
No worries. Cool. All right. Hello, Arena. Nice to see you. All right. Let's see what other questions we may have. Okay. Irena's asking about breakout rooms. I tried with 3 people on the call and it wasn't working well. How to make sure the hosts and co-hosts are not included in the breakouts. Thank you. Yeah. Let me just think. I don't think I've got my Zoom set up to share. I can do it this way. Yes. All right.
And Grant, while you're doing that,
Yep.
there's actually a new option in the share screen dialog box where you can choose whether to show the Zoom windows or not right from the share screen dialog box. So that's brand new.
Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, show Zoom windows. Nice work. It's always been an account setting up until now. So all right. So question is, what was best way to share this is then go. But you can't do it for a portion of the screen. Okay. And then, okay, so if I shared that screen, here we go. And then I'm going to put Zoom in there. All right. And so, Irina, when you're setting up breakout rooms, can you see the breakout rooms window that I'm jiggling around? Yep. Good. All right. So the key thing here, a couple of things to think of here. So when you're first setting up breakout rooms is, do you want them automatically assigned? So you just want them randomly placed into rooms, or are you assigning them manually and each person you're placing into a room? So I'm assuming you're thinking about assigning automatically, just like putting people. Yep, great. So this is the key thing that you're talking about there. Include co-hosts in breakout rooms. You want to deselect that, right? So anyone that is on your team that's a co-host will not get automatically assigned to a room. So that's at this point that you do that. You're then choosing how many rooms. Make sure you've worked that out, and then that will, on the next screen, that will automatically assign people to the different rooms. So you can see that. Now you'll notice that Justin, who is a co-host in this meeting, has not been assigned, right? So that's all good there. So then you've got the rooms here. The next thing you want to do is you want to check down the gear down the bottom here. You've got a few extra options here. So allow participants to choose rooms means that they can click a button and see a list of all the breakout rooms, and they could move between them. I tend to use that not in combination of assigning people to rooms, but I use that when sometimes we're doing topics at the end of the day, and people could choose a topic and they can go into that breakout room and have little chat rooms, basically. So that can be a really effective tool to use at the end of an event, have people go into different rooms and they can choose them. The next one, allow participants to return to the main session at any time, means that they've got the leave button in the breakout room, and they can leave and go back to the main session at any point. Often we don't have that on, and so it's easier to have people stay in the breakout than have them coming in and out of the main session room. It's also easier to reassign them if what they do is leave the whole meeting altogether. They leave Zoom altogether, and then they join again. They're going to come back to the main session. And it's going to be easier to assign them back to a room had they have not already been in a breakout room. These are handy. Automatically move all assigned participants into breakout rooms. If you don't have this checked, then people will they'll get a prompt to say that the host is asking you to join breakout room 4. Do you want to? So it tends to just slow it all down, right? When you need people to confirm, and so I tend to leave this on so that as soon as I hit open rooms, everyone just gets assigned. There's no confirmation. It just happens. It keeps things moving much quicker. But you may have a particular use case where you don't want it. You want them to confirm, and so it's worth thinking about each one of these settings, and then automatically move selected participants in breakouts to main session. So there's then there's also a way to bring people back into the main session when you select them, and you can automatically push them back into the main session. That's not often used for a typical breakout session in small groups. Then your auto close breakout rooms in how many minutes, so that you don't have to think about it. That can be helpful. Some of these things, I think that wherever you can, if you say it's going to be a 10-minute breakout room session, then just put 10 minutes in, let it auto close. No one has to think about it, and it's going to close. It's a rare thing because you don't have visibility into the rooms. It's not dynamic, and so if you're standing in a ballroom with all your breakout rooms, you can see it and you can gauge whether the conversations are still on track and it's working well. And you might go, oh, let's push this for another couple of minutes because it's working really well. You don't have that insight here. So I think sometimes people are like, oh, we'll just feel it and see how long it goes for. But you've got nothing to judge that on. So you might as well just preset it to however long, 10 minutes or whatever. And then you choose whether there's a countdown after that that timer is up, or when you hit close. When you hit close all breakouts, what does what is there a countdown? And I think that's helpful, right? people are right in the middle of a conversation. And so choosing, sometimes I feel like 60 is a bit long. 30 seconds is probably about right for people to wrap up their conversation, and then it goes. Also, what happens is during this countdown timer, people can leave and go back to the main session, as in that option becomes available the moment the countdown timer starts. And so you'll start to see people come back into the main session. So that's those extra options in that gear there. And then you've really just got whether you wanted to, there's this little exchange button that you could swap people out. And you could also move people around before you open it. Now, the thing that you notice is that, for example, Donna joined after I hit this, I created the room. And so it's just worth remembering that it's only going to assign the people that are currently in the room when you press the button. And so you sort of want to do it as late as you can so that it auto assigns. Because if I open this now, what will happen is all of the people will get assigned to the rooms, and then there would be a couple of people, I think that would be unassigned, and you would need to go then and click them and assign them to different rooms. So once you're done there, then open rooms, and that'll push people into the rooms, and that's it. Then you have an option. If I did this, you'll see I've just deleted all the rooms. I've just opened the rooms. I deleted it, meaning that no one is assigned to the one room that's open. And so now you can see the ones that all the people that are unassigned to a room, you can see them there. And then you've got the option here to close all rooms. The next thing there is broadcast is the ability to talk into the rooms. I've had varying levels of success with this, but it can work well. And so that you can talk to people. You can also send a message into the breakouts as well. So, is there anything that we've missed, Irina, or anything you wanted? Any extra little bits on that?
So when you want to exchange people, you just click on that exchange button and drag and drop. That's what you did? Exchange them to different rooms.
Yeah, exchange is just a faster way to move two people, and kind of to swap two people out.
For example, if the person stays all by herself because two people didn't show up, they just escaped, right? Sometimes situations are like that. And then, and you see it, and then you can take that person and drop that person to the different room, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you do it through exchange, or you just drop and
just move. Just move. See how when people are assigned, you can move them. It gives you a list of where to move them to, so you could move them. This is why it's always good to factor in the number of people that you want in each room to have a bit of a buffer. So if the ideal number, depending on the discussion type, but if the ideal number was sort of 4 or 5 people, then you probably want to have 6 or 7 people assigned to each room. Right. Knowing that a couple of people, some people won't be caught dead in a breakout room, and so they will do anything they can to avoid being in a breakout room.
Oh, that's me. I hate breakout rooms.
That's ironic, isn't it?
Oh, I will do everything to escape.
So you don't want to do it, but you want to do it for your events. I get it.
Well, after so many events, now I said it's time to learn it. We'll see how it goes. Usually we don't do them.
I think it can be very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I think the education around around really encouraging people to engage in it is the key to it. It's all about how you set up that breakout room session as to how effective it'll be. One of the things I think that people are most uncomfortable about is the social awkwardness of a breakout room. Who's going to talk? Do I talk now? I don't know what I'm going to say. You know, all of that uncertainty is what makes the whole thing worse particularly for introverts, you know, that are just like, I don't want to talk to random people. I don't know when to talk. I don't know what I'm supposed to say, all of that. And so trying to remove all of those questions for people before they go into breakout rooms so that they know who's going to talk first. They know who's keeping time. They know specifically what the question is that they're answering, to really make that punchy and clear. And the more that they do that in your event, the more relaxed they get, and it can work really well. And I think it sets it apart. It's one of the key things that sets your online event apart from a YouTube stream. If you're not doing any of that type of interaction, then you could just be doing a live stream.
Well, with my small events, we just interact all together. So they did have a lot of interactions at my event, but just not breakout room. Plus, when it's a small event, sometimes you can't have breakout rooms because not enough people to put them into the room. So we just all together talking.
Yeah. It'd be, the analysis of that would be interesting, as to how the people that don't get a chance to speak at all, even with small groups, even with a small group of the total participants, there's likely to be people that will dominate and people that will not speak at all or interact at all, you know. And that's the opportunity. It doesn't have to be 10 small groups. It could be 2 or 3, you know, that you're doing in breakout rooms, but it could give an opportunity for other people to speak. Muddy, what have I missed?
I actually have I've even seen breakout rooms in a small meeting where it's just one breakout room, but it doesn't include the host and co-host. So there's a little different dynamic when the participants can talk amongst themselves kind of without you there, right? It lets them have some different kinds of conversations. But what I was going to say is, first of all, once you open the breakout rooms, the options are set. So you want to establish those options before you open the rooms. But the main thing I wanted to say is that one of those options that Grant pointed out is automatically close rooms after a certain amount of time. If you select that option, once you open the rooms, there's a small countdown timer at the top of the room that counts down the whole time, right? So if it's a 10-minute breakout session, it'll count down from 10 minutes all the way through. And so if you're doing something where each person has 3 minutes or each person has 2 minutes, that's can be helpful just because there's a clock that everyone can see to help keep time. Now, of course, assigning someone to keep time is pretty easy as well, but just wanted to point out that makes the clock available. Now, I've also had some people say that having that clock count down the whole time added a little pressure, like it was like, oh, we're on this countdown. But anyway, my point in telling you is that if you have that automatically closed, then there's a small timer that's visible at the top of the window.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Question.
It's okay. We're not about to close.
What Madi was saying about the setting it ahead of time, that's what I did before where I'm in the mastermind, so we were trying those breakout rooms. I set it up before, and all I could do was to create 2 breakout rooms. But I didn't see any other buttons, so now after this, I'm going to check it all out. So how long in advance? Meaning, can I do it before? So as soon as I start the meeting, I can already set it up, and when time for breakout rooms come, then it will work, or how?
No, well, particularly when you're doing the random assignment of people, so that they're being assigned into the rooms. It depends if you've got all of your attendees there and no one else is going to be showing up, then yes, you could get it all ready early and then just have it where you click open and because you've got everyone assigned. But if you have people that leave and then come back, or some people that weren't there, they won't be assigned to the rooms, and it takes some more clicking. So when you get used to it, it actually is very quick. And so it's easier, I think, to just leave it until very close to the time that you're going to start the breakout room, double check a couple of the settings, and then go. And ideally, you have someone else that's doing that for you, right? And so that you can just say, when you say, okay, we're about to go into breakout rooms, that's a cue for the person to start getting it ready. You're setting it up, telling them how it's going to work and the best ways for it to operate. And then, okay, let's go now. And they click the button and away it goes. And so that's the best flow. But if you have to do it yourself, then you do that. You talk about it a little bit, and then you double check a couple of the settings, set it up, do the automatic assignment, and open, and away it goes. So.
And just to clarify, so if a person was not there and the person showed up during the breakout rooms, there's nothing we can do, or we can still bring, I missed that part. Can we bring that in a breakout room or not, manually?
You can move them manually into a breakout room. So they would show up in the list of unassigned, and they would be in the main meeting. So they would just pop up in the main meeting. And then you can assign them to a room. You just look down and see a room that has less people in it, or wherever you want to assign them, and that'll move them straight into it.
And then that's on that list that you have when you were watching as a host or co-host, you can see everybody who is in the room, who is not, right? So whole picture for CIA to know what's going on in the whole country.
You can see a list of all the breakouts, and you can see all the people that are in those breakouts. And if you've got the latest version of Zoom and it's all set up that way, you can actually see a microphone of people that are muted and unmuted next to each one of them in the breakouts. You can't see their breakout. You can't see or hear what's going on in the breakout room, but you can see activity, and you could see that there are a couple of people with their microphones unmuted, that type of thing. And so then you can sort of see activity. So when you look down a list and you see a breakout room with everyone muted, nothing going on, you know that was a disaster breakout room. And so which can happen. So but the thing is too that happens in person as well. Turn to the 4 people around you and make a breakout room. You look, and most of the people have managed to do it, and some people have all got up and gone to the restroom, or there's a couple of those breakout rooms that just didn't, or breakout little, turn to the person, little small groups that didn't work. They're sitting there looking at each other and not talking. That's a little bit of human nature. So,
yep. Thank you so much. Great information.
You're welcome. So we've had Blue sneak in. I'm just wondering if he's available to answer a question. We'll see. Or he's trying to get
back to my computer.
Oh, there you go.
Trying to get back to my computer. I heard it. I was on the other side of the room.
I thought you might have been just trying to be in multiple places at once.
Well, kind of. Kinda, but it's all good. What's up?
Fair enough. Muddy's just asking about adding a credit card specifically for add-ons, so that he's adding a client's card essentially to be able to handle the add-ons. And I remember us kind of building that in, but I couldn't quite remember the flow for it and the way that we're thinking of adding it.
I believe it happens at the point of purchase. So when you go to buy an add-on, next to the purchase button, I think there's a drop-down arrow that allows you to select the card that you're purchasing from.
Yes.
I haven't looked at it in a while, but that's
me either. Yeah. And that sounds right too. And that's, Muddy, that's kind of what you were thinking too, where you could add it to your account, have multiple cards on there, and then when it comes to purchasing the add-on, you then choose which one it is.
But you can't add it unless you're making a purchase. Like, there isn't a card management section of the platform. You have to go and actually make a purchase, and that's the point at which you add it.
That was the
I believe. Again, I mean, I can.
I'm just having a look too.
I think at the account level, I may be able to add a card.
Oh yeah, I don't think you can add a card, but you can delete other cards, but there is not an add a card area. And where are the add-ons? Where do we purchase those? My
At the organization level, there's a drop down where you'd go to Obvio.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then my question was, when I put that card in, or when I go to select that card, if it'll show the name on the card, or if it only shows the last 4 digits, and if I have to kind of remember whose card is whose. So, of course,
I'm fairly positive. I'm fairly positive it only shows the last 4 digits.
Okay. I might add in a feature request to put a little nickname, right? So, client A's card or something like that.
There's probably a whole series of things that we could do in that area. Yeah, so you have to go all the way through and click purchase add-on, and then there is there's a confirmation dialog, and at that point there's a use a different card option, at which point you can add the additional card. And it asks you for a name, and then the card number, expiry date, and CVC code. And then you can purchase the add-on. When you do that, it then saves that card to your account. And Muddy, I feel moderately confident that it doesn't save the card at the organization level. It saves the card at the account level, because all of the accounting stuff is owner-based. It's not organization-based. So
yeah, and that was my thinking around having some identifier, right? Because I've got one card in.
Yeah, like a nickname for the card or something like that. Yeah, I can see that.
Cool. Yep. Thanks. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. There was a mix in there of some conversations that we had early on about it being tied to an organization. But yeah, that's not where it is at the moment. So cool. That answers that for you. Let's have a look.
Yeah, it's where the purchase has to be made, but it's not where the card is stored.
Yeah.
The purchase applies. Well, the purchase applies to the account. Oddly enough, it doesn't actually apply to the organization.
To the organization, no.
Yeah. So there's a few things from a cleanup perspective that we could spend some attention or take some time on.
Yeah, well, and it's good to get the feedback, Muddy, of the use cases as well, right? So just hearing about how you're using it, and understanding too that an option is that which is what you've been doing, is that you just that you on sell it, or that you just pay for it and you invoice it directly yourself, which is different for people that are reselling or using Obvio as a service for clients versus clients that are using it themselves and saying, when we send an SMS or that sort of thing, we want it to come from this, this particular card or those sorts of things. So it's just good to know how people are using it.
Actually, hold on, as you say that, Grant, I actually think that the SMS feature is where the drop-down service is. Muddy, were you going to say the exact same thing that I was? Yeah, I don't think, just looking at the interface for the purchase of add-ons, I don't believe you can, I don't think it saves, it may not, if it saves the card, I don't believe you can select the card from the add-on purchase. I think you have to enter it every time. So we should probably, Justin, make a task to start with having a drop down for the purchase the same way we do for SMS, so that there's a unified feature there, or a unified something or other there. And then I think it would be valuable to add the ability to add a secondary card at the account level, and also add nicknames to the card that have nothing to do with billing. That is just an internal feature, like an internal data point for us. Cool.
Good one. Good one. Franklin, are you feeling okay? You've put a question in before the end of the Q&A time. I just hope you're all right. He's got here, what is the status of Marketplace, and is it available for clients to access and use? Blue's really happy that he came along today.
I mean, so Marketplace in its current iteration is usable, and you can use it today. We are working on a fairly significant overhaul to Marketplace, which is coming along at just about the same speed as the original iteration of Marketplace, which was slow and painful. So yeah, we're working on it. But it's working as it stands right now. You can do paid events, you can do free events. I'm pretty sure, I think Muddy is maybe the only person who actually uses it. But there are a few events that are using it.
Yeah, the key things of the rebuild are making it easier for the way it displays. And so there might be, as you're messing around with how it displays, there might be just some things that are a little bit tricky to get exactly the way you want it. And that's the key things that we're wanting to tidy up with the new rebuild. So, yeah.
Yeah, so just how some of, aware of that. For people who have played with Marketplace, the sizing of elements or blocks, content blocks on the page can sometimes vary based on mobile or desktop, and then also sometimes change based on size, and then sometimes it changes in ways that it doesn't make sense that it is. So that's the main thing that, like, to Grant's point, that's what we're working on. Go ahead, Muddy.
I was going to share, Franklin, when you create a new event within an organization and you go to Marketplace, when you get to the sales page or the purchase page, you have an option to use one of Obvio's templates. There's 3 templates, blank, this and that, or you can use your own templates, which actually looks across all of your events in that same organization and allows you to apply one of those. And I tell you that because we have created some Marketplace, you and I have created some Marketplace pages for your events in the past, which means if you create a new event in your organization, you'll actually be able to pull in a template, essentially duplicating a sales page from one of your other events, and then you can modify it from there.
Fair enough. All good, Franklin? Cool. And then another question Franklin had, can AI like Obi be used in the configuration of Obvio? If not, is this a question of viability for future considerations? That's a good one for Blue to talk about.
So there currently is no connection to AI directly inside the primary Obvio platform. We have talked about a couple of different ways to connect Obvio to AI, but as of today, there is no active plans to do that for people outside of Leap. We are talking about, once the marketplace piece is complete, or at least in place, to start to bring in page builders or the ability to use AI to build a marketplace page, because Obi has the sales page information or copy already there. So taking it to the next level is in the plans. But we have to get marketplace complete first before we can do that.
Yep.
And we're always looking for different ways to use AI. But as of right now, it's not really high on the priority list. It's there. It's just not super.
Okay. Jaylene, that's a good question. After getting feedback from Blue and Barry and ask us anything on build an email list while I'm busy setting up my new business, I am searching for a simple way to start utilizing an ongoing event in Obvio to invite people to gather emails for building an interest list. Is there an easy way to do that? If I post a short video on social media and include a link to an ongoing Obvio event for them to sign up for upcoming events, or sign up to be on a newsletter list, or to sign up for an ongoing series of weekly tips, what would that work as a strategy to build a list, get content out to the world, basically to use Obvio to start building the list is essentially what it is.
Who asked that question?
Jaylene?
Yeah, so it's a great question. The short answer is it's possible to do that. The slightly longer
intended use.
Exactly. The slightly longer answer is, would I do that if it were me just starting out? And the answer is probably not. Here's the reason for that. I would sooner pick once you have them, what you'd be doing is you would be getting people to sign up for an event. Once they sign up for the event, you can then communicate with them for that event, but there's no practical way to continue to communicate with them outside of the event, which means you now have to pull those attendees out of the event and import them into another service. Keep, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, Go High Level, whatever you choose as your CRM, and then communicate with them in that way. What I think is a better course of action is to get people to sign up for the event through one of those services, through an opt-in page for Go High Level, an opt-in page for ActiveCampaign, or what have you, and then use the integration with one of your events to bring that contact into Obvio and now communicate with them through the event. The reason why I think that's a better way to do it is because my impression is contacts that are imported into external services have a slightly different treatment than contacts that are created through an opt-in page on that service. Now, I've not really actually been able to confirm that. There are some instances of that in certain platforms, but you can do things like get people to double opt-in, you can manage tags, and as your list grows, it'll be a much more manageable experience. So that's the direction that I would go, Jaylene, rather than using like a sign-up page on Obvio and driving traffic to that. It's possible. It's just not how I would do it. So hopefully that helps. Although I do understand that it means one more service that you have to sign up for. But whether you're doing an event, if you're doing an online business, or honestly, if you have a business at all, you should have some way to collect your prospect and customer information and communicate with those customers and prospects. Doesn't matter if it's, brick and mortar. Like, I mean, I've been to restaurants that collect your email address and then send you emails after the fact, so there's I don't think there's a business type where that doesn't apply, where you should have some way to communicate with your prospects and clients, both existing and past. Does that make sense? Cool.
I think, Blue, another key thing to remember about sending out messages through communication in Obvio is there's no way to unsubscribe. And if you look at all the rules around spamming and whatnot, you're required as a business side to have an unsubscribe ability. And there's some serious fines depending on where you're sending messages by not having that. And we're designed to have transactional messages. Like, you bought something from us, so we can send you a message, not, hey, here's my weekly newsletter. So it's kind of a gray area not having that unsubscribe. So much better to send it from something like a CRM where you can actually add in the unsubscribes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is good thinking, as in we have people using Obvio in lots of different ways now, and particularly when starting out, because you don't want to be paying for 5 different tools to get your business going. But I would say that the CRM is probably the most important one that you want as an ongoing tool, where you've had people who have been able to opt in properly, as well as you were talking about a few different types of subscription potentially, where they might be interested in a newsletter as well as details of events coming up. And that way they can actually opt into each one of those. And so the permissions all correct, and you're able to send promotional emails to them about that and track and also track their usage across, time. You won't ever regret setting that up correctly right from the start. But you could regret doing it wrong, because hopefully it really takes off for you and you've got hundreds of email addresses there. You don't want to be messing around with that in Obvio. You want to have it in the right tool from day one, is my suggestion. I'd be trying to save money elsewhere, is my point. Cool. Right. Melanie, simple question. Well, I'll be the judge of that, Melanie. In Zoom, can explain mirroring? Simple question, simple grammar, it seems, as well. Can explain mirroring.
Harsh. That's harsh. So harsh. Here.
How to set up.
Here, watch. What?
And
how about that? That's mirroring. There you go.
You.
That's it. Look at that. Look at this. Is just
what are you doing?
changing.
Wait, Blue, I had another part to it. So I can read, when I hold up a book, my front camera can read it properly in Zoom.
Yeah, just turn mirroring. Just the general rule, if you're going to have text in your video feed, just turn mirroring off. That's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay, that's all I knew. Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
It is a simple question. You don't have,
I knew it was.
It's like, yeah, it's no different than holding up a book in the mirror and trying to read it in the mirror, like it's backwards.
It is weird.
Don't do that.
It's weird. Muddy?
There's something very important to know about that setting. And so the setting you're talking about, it says mirror my video. It's under the camera settings within the Zoom. That setting only affects what you see. Everyone else sees it correctly. When Blue was turning it on and off, none of us noticed any difference because we don't see it. It's only affecting what he was seeing himself flip. So when you hold the book up, everyone sees it the right way. But Zoom, by default, has Mirror My Video turned on to affect what you see of yourself because people are used to seeing themselves in a mirror. So it can take a little getting used to once you turn it off, because you move your hand this way, but you see it on the screen move that way, because now you're seeing what everyone else sees when you turn it off. But the good thing to know is everyone sees it the right way. It only affects what you see.
Good. Yeah, because it also gets a little confusing when I'm moving food one way and I'm thinking I'm moving one way and I see it go another way. So that's what I was playing around with last night.
Yeah.
So what's the
Okay.
best practice? What's the best practice for this? Mirror or no mirror?
It's personal preference, really.
It is personal preference. Yeah, it's what you get used to, right? So if you want to see it that it is opposite, like looking into a mirror, and that's easier for you to look at and to compare, then you do that. But if you're used to looking at a camera and seeing it and seeing it in a way that everyone else sees it, then, and when you're showing up things with text and it looks correct and things like that, then you do it that way. I had a client once who was a speaker for an event just at the start of COVID, and they were just about to order a banner because they had like a pop-up banner that they had in the back of their thing, and they went to the effort of flipping it. And so they were going to get printed a banner that was mirrored, where the text was backwards. And they were about to order this banner that was mirrored. And I said, "Oh, have you seen the button there?" I'm like, "Oh, that's amazing. Now I don't have to buy a banner that's mirrored." So that was kind of funny. Especially given, to Muddy's point, that everyone was seeing it correctly anyway. It was only them that was seeing it differently. So then everyone would have been very confused by this banner that was backwards. and they would have felt like it was perfect, and everyone else would have seen that it was wrong. So there you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well,
It's
I
a deep
have a
dive
question for following Melanie. Then one
Yes.
day I recorded a video and it was wrong. I didn't see it. So the book, whatever I was showing, was the opposite way. How did that happen if nobody can see? I mean, everybody can see in the right way.
Was that in Zoom?
Yeah, maybe it was just a video. Oh, video is different. So it's only Zoom.
Maybe. I'm not certain. Muddy?
Yeah, my guess is that was a Facebook video. And when you use your phone, okay, not Facebook, but
No.
anyway, my guess it was a different app, because with Zoom, it works the way we just talked about. So my guess is might have been a different app. That and just to complete the thought, when you do a Facebook Live from your phone, it shows backwards when you're using your front-facing camera. And so if you ever watch Facebook videos and you see people that, the logo on their shirt is backwards or whatever, that's a dead giveaway that they recorded it on their phone with their front-facing camera. So,
Right.
Thank you.
There you go. Look at that deep dive into mirroring. Who knew? All right. Liz. Hey, Liz. Oh, she got bored. She's like, hurry up already. Get to my question. Just at the right time. Liz is saying, can we build a dashboard today? So specifically, are you wanting help building your dashboard or just wanting to see a dashboard built?
Good morning.
Hi.
I've been speaking with Elizabeth and she said Blue would build it last week in this session, but he wasn't available.
Oh.
I'm just wondering if we could do it this week. Or another time. It's fine.
He's muted and squirming a little bit.
I know, so. You can see.
No, it's fine. I don't mind doing it. Are there any other questions though before we do that? Because that'll probably take half an hour, and I'd rather get the questions answered and then save that for last.
All right.
Franklin, talking about the affiliate, or you got another question?
No, that's it. That's
yeah.
it.
So just talking about affiliate system and whether that is available to be able to offer to potential clients to use Obvio.
Once we get the sales page up and running, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
right now, I wouldn't send people to the order form or to the sales page as it stands right now.
That's right. Yeah, but we have got an affiliate system built in to be able to track all of that. But we just need to do a bit extra on the front end and give you an actual sales page that will convince people. So it's coming. It's coming. That was the last question posted. Irina, what have you got?
I think it will be very quick question. I have two actually. One is just to confirm, there is a list of people and I want to send them an email or SMS in Obvio. And I don't want, let's say, 2 people, I don't want to send them that's email. So what I do is I go to rules section, I assign them the tag first, then I go to the rules section, I set the tag, do not send, right? That's how it will work. I never used it with emails.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no tag with emails. I don't know. Okay, question.
Yeah. So this is where using tags that you can say includes a tag or does not include tag, right? So if you want to send, you're basically creating a blacklist. I don't want to send to these people, and so you tag those people with do not send, and then when you set up the rule, you're just saying does not include do not send. Now, all the people that don't have do not send tag will be sent that broadcast. Does that make sense?
It does perfect sense. That's what I was saying. But is it with email too? Is this such a thing? Rules with email? I don't remember.
Yes. So yes and no.
You want to see it?
It's not
Where
called
do I find it?
So it's not called rules. It's called filtered. So when you look at the send to all checked in users, not checked in users, filtered equals rules.
Got it. That's why I couldn't remember. Filtered. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, just quickly there.
Yes, filtered.
Filtered, right? And then you edit filter, add a filter, and then you're saying it's a tag, does not include or include. Now, generally, I think it's helpful to keep things in the positive. And so that I think it makes it easier, but it depends on how you have everything set up. But generally, I like to think that I've tagged all of these people with, standard attendee, for example, versus a team member or a VIP. And I want to send an email to all the standard attendees, then tag includes standard attendee. So all I'm saying is just from a thought process, sometimes it's easier to be in the positive. I want to send it to people who have this tag is a bit clearer to understand than I want to send it to all the people that don't have this tag. You can get yourself in a bit of a bind when you start thinking in the negative.
100%. But if it's only 1 or 2 people who unsubscribe there, but still on the list here, you don't want to send them because they unsubscribe, but they're here. That's why. Yeah.
Right.
And one more question, which is also to confirm. So because my academy has been already going 3 years on Obvio, and at some point, so what I would do, I would put a video after our session or class, I would post it on the blog. And so eventually it got a lot of videos there because of after every session. And at some point, and these are not videos, these are just links, obviously. So it's not hosted on Obvio. But at some point,
are they links or are they embeds?
Embeds, the HTML codes.
Yeah, at some point,
because I have this.
At some point did the dashboard stop loading, or just take forever?
Yeah.
It started, yeah. The video started. That's what my question was. Because of
Yeah,
embed?
it's just because you have too many. Like, the reality is the use case that you're using the blog post for, to essentially make it a way for people to view a whole bunch of recordings, is not really what it's designed for. So what we normally do in situations like that, Irina, what hosting service are you using for your video?
Adilo. Grant always smiles because he doesn't know it. He says, I don't know Adilo. Yes, I use Adilo all these years.
So do they have the capability of producing an embed code that is a playlist?
A playlist?
Yeah. So
ask.
what a lot of services have is the ability to have one embed code that allows you to cycle through a whole bunch of videos in one embed code. So for clients that have had the problem that you're having, we've suggested that. So some services have the ability to create a playlist and some don't.
Yeah, I have it with live streaming. There they have playlist.
Yeah, so if the platform that you're using has the ability to do that, then that's the solve. You remove all the blog posts and you just put a single embed code that is like, here are all of the recordings, and you do it that way.
And then all of the recordings would be on the hosting platform together as a playlist?
It depends on the platform, but generally speaking, the platforms that support the creation of a playlist will have the ability to allow you to create a playlist. You add videos to that playlist, and then you get an embed code for that one playlist, which is a video. It looks like a video, but it allows you to select videos from within the playlist. So again, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, no, I'll just
Grant.
move them to my Learn platform. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Well, and that's what it's designed for, right? Like, the Obvio dashboard is not intended as a way to, give people a super long history of all of them. And I don't even remember what the number is, but we had a client that this happened to a few months ago, and the same thing happened.
Okay, good. No, it was just easier because they come here and I just put it there and forget about it. Yeah.
Well,
okay, that's it. Thank you.
You may find too that you could do an archive, in the sense that just the last video is the one that you embed, and then the previous videos you could just have links directly off to the page where they can see the other videos. It could be a way of handling it too, so that you just have the latest one. It could be easy.
Oh, that's true. No, but the link doesn't work. That's why I couldn't do the link, because it's not on YouTube. And from Adilo, it didn't work for Obvio.
Okay.
That's why I had to use HTML.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Right. No worries. Anyone else before we dive into a build? Any other questions? Forever hold your peace.
Well, I want to clarify one thing, what Irina just said. There may be a link that goes directly to the video, but it's not a link that works with Obvio's video player plugin, right? So you can't insert that video into a blog post, but if they have a link to watch the video that just goes to their page to watch it, you could put that in a blog post just as a link. Anyway, just thinking out loud.
Fair enough. Yeah, exactly. There's a few different ways to get to that. All right. If there's no other questions, and Liz, have you got some assets and things for your build?
I hope so. I'm not really quite sure what I need.
I'm mostly stealing them from the sales page. Her and I've been going back and forth in the chat.
Great.
Cool.
Liz, do you want to use the dashboard, the cards template, or did you just pick that because you were going quickly and that made sense to you at the time?
That's the only one I've really played around with. So the only really one I know what I'm up to.
All right, so this is Liz's sales page. So for those of you who have watched us do a page build in the past, you'll know that you'll remember that one of the first things that I do is I take a look at the sales page that you're using, and then, kind of generally we'll take a look and see, okay, of those, or of the templates that we have, which do I think would make the most sense in terms of making it fit with your brand. Because what we're always looking for is the ability for the dashboard and the event sales page to have a similar look and feel. Because we don't want somebody to buy a ticket and then feel as though they're going to a completely different event when they wind up on the dashboard. So that's the starting point. Now, Liz has, inside of her organization, created the horticulture event already, and as a starting point, selected the cards template. Now, my gut is actually to use the lefty template for this, although I like the cards template. I think that's perfectly fine. I kind of feel like I want to use the cards template if you're okay with, or the lefty template if you're okay with it.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so and just for let me tell you the reason why. So first off, if we take a look at the sample dashboards for both of them, you'll notice that the cards template is heavily image driven up at the top. And while on your sales page, you have some images as background, like this one here, as well as this one here, and there's another one further down. There's this guy here, which is looks like a bunch of plants. There's this guy as well. My gut is that those images will look better kind of like this style, with the top area still being heavily image driven, but with a heavy color overlay, similar to what you've got going on here. Rather than the cards template, because the cards template, the image is full screen and a little bit more dominant. So
I think that we can have that picture of Shane in the field behind there, though, the same way as on the sales page.
We could. So if we were going to do that, we'd go into global styles and we would bring in the image that you're referring to. And then we would probably, I don't remember if the color overlay in this particular area, I don't remember if this goes over top or not. So we're about to find out. It sounds to me, based on that comment, that that's what you'd like. So let's do it.
Well, I thought it would make it uniform. Like with this page, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so give me 1 second. I need to pull the colors. You don't have your hex codes for the colors that you use?
I do, yes. So that dark green. Oh, I can drop it in.
I mean, I found one that's pretty close. So that's probably pretty high. Let's see if that actually does it. Yep, there we go. Okay. Now, there is another side to this, which is the header area. In order to see the top of his head, needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to first off make sure that the anchor for the background image is the top. So at some point we do actually see the top of his head, and it's not just from the mouth down. It's a weird shot. And then, do you have a white version of your event logo? by chance?
Yeah. Do you want a stacked one or a longer one?
Horizontal. So the same logo that you have here, but a white version of that same logo, ideally. Oops. And perfect. So I'm going to take that logo and upload it here. Use the size. This, while it says pixels, technically that's actually percent.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where I would start. The other thing that I would want to do on this side over here is change the icon color of the menu to be white instead of blue, and then probably use the same dark green as the background for the menu itself. So there we go. All right, so now we're at a starting point. Next thing I'm going to go in is change the welcome message text to be white. I'm going to leave that for you to update to whatever you want, but at least that way the styling is there. We can also take a quick look at what this font is and see. Do you happen to know what that font is off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. Sorry, I can find out.
So I'm not 100% sure what that font is, and if it's not a Google font, it won't matter much.
It may be a font from Wix.
Pardon me?
It may be a font from Wix because that's where it's built.
Yeah. So we're going to want to, once we figure out what the name of the font is, we're probably going to want to double check to see if there is a comparable Google font. But if you once you get the name, let me know.
So I dropped him in the chat.
That looks pretty right, actually. But it's still loading.
Huh? At the baby step. All right, so I'm going to use Railway just based on that information. Okay, and then I'm going to create a button for the main stage. And there we have two options from a color perspective. I think I'm going to use, like my gut is to use the yellow, but we technically could use the yellow or this green because both could be buttons that are decent, have decent contrast. I'm going to stick with the yellow though.
Yeah, I think the yellow.
So, background and black. Lighter that. and click save. Next up, I do think you have a border on that. That is white. So again, just to match, add a small border on this as well. And then I'm going to go into the main nav settings. I'm going to reduce the border radius because your buttons are also, for the most part, square. So you can see how that looks just as a starting point. From here,
extra buttons to that.
You have two options. You can just copy buttons, and it'll maintain the style, or you just click new buttons and keep adding them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Do you have something that you're going to be linking to that you're aware of already?
No, but we were thinking we might have like a help desk.
Okay, and that would be like a like another Zoom room.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. And you want that? Here, this is how I would do that in that case. There you go. For some reason, the text to me feels like it should be a different color. It's not right either. This. All right, so basically what I'm doing is creating a hover color for the buttons. So the text changes when you hover over it, similar to what your buttons do as well. And while we're here, I'm going to go in and create a main stage area, and also create a help desk area and point those buttons to those areas. Do you have a welcome letter of some sort for your blog post, or like for the blog? Are you thinking? What are you thinking of for the sidebar area? Do you have downloads that you're going to be that you have for your event, or any other resources that you want to put in the sidebar down below?
Yeah, we probably need a resource area.
Okay.
I don't have a letter yet.
Okay. So I'm going to edit the sidebar as the starting point. And we're going to change the background color to match. I'm kind of thinking the lighter green down there. Does that work for you?
Yep. You want me to just give you the number?
No, I've got it. All right, so background color, that. Typography, probably white. That's what I'm thinking. Header color, do that to kind of give it the illusion. And background border. There. Okay. So we've got our sidebar over here. Then I'm just going to put a blog post, put the welcome to the event, and then grab some lorem ipsum text for you to add to that at some point in the future. The one that actually works. Does that work? I really care about the history of it. Just give me a generator.
You can just go ... I'll fill it in.
I like to see how it looks, which is why I generally try and put some text on it. There we go.
You could just go to the Obvio site. And
yeah, I could do that. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, go click save. Then I'm going to go in and edit blog post styles, and I'm going to change my blog title text to be a little bit bigger, and also be the same railway font that we're using up top. Okay. Now add an item, resources, change this to say downloads. Below are downloadable resources to help.
Can I add those resources in at different times?
You can, yep, you can. And the other thing that you can do is, so I'm just going to add, so you can add files and just drag them here, but you can also add links. So I'm going to add a link to Facebook. And you can add icons based on whatever, well, same way you can in other areas. And then what you can do is you can enable or disable them. So in the editor, you can go through and create all of the resources that you're going to have over the course of your event.
Yeah.
But then enable them or disable them at specific times.
That'd be great.
So, and that's simply by hovering over the resource itself, clicking on the gear, and clicking disabled. And now when you preview it, there's nothing there, right? The section is there, but there's nothing to actually, there's nothing that actually is shown.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and you can do that with entire sections, in fact, right? So if you wanted to hide the entire resources section, you could. You can do that with blog posts. You can do that with buttons. There's all sorts of things that you can, well, pretty much everything on the platform you can do that with. You can create it. You can also disable it. I'm going to enable the speaker section. And we're also going to, oh shit. Well, that's unfortunate. It's going to cause an issue on the actual dashboard. Yeah. All right.
Can you just move it down?
Pardon me?
Can you just, like, we move the picture all the way to the top? Can you just move it all the way to the down, like all the way to the bottom?
You mean anchor it to the bottom? Then it'll hide his head entirely. So the issue is that this is more of a bug than it is something that's your fault. So we'll I'm gonna give this to the team to work on. But essentially we should have a different header section or header config for subpages. We'll get on that. Okay, so the other thing I generally do is I'll pull your bios and add that to the speakers area. So add speaker, hover over, and then paste that in. And you can adjust that if you want it to be a little different. Make sure that I don't mix up the spelling. Long image. Bigger and save. And then similar to your posts, we can pull that text and bring that in here. There, like that. Speaker. Okay, and then hover over, paste, oops. It's that like that. And image also goes here. Save that. And you can mirror this as well in that same area. Save. And now on your home page, getting there, we have your hosts right there. That'll take you over there. And then the other thing I want to do.
Sorry, can we have the sponsor page activated as well, please?
Yeah, that's something that you can do at any time just by toggling it on.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Yeah, it's super easy. Like this stuff is, once the framework is there, it's just turn it on, turn it off. And that's true of the FAQ page, the Zoom backgrounds page, any of those additional pages.
Okay, cool.
And if at any step of the way you have, any challenges, that's what we're here to support you with. So I'm also going to add a area for you to add a simple event agenda if you want to.
Yep.
Agenda below is an outline of the event agenda. Remember, this is a live event, so sometimes times shift. And you can, of course, adjust that to be what you want it to be. But then you just add an event agenda, day 1. What's your first day?
The 13th of June.
Okay, timing?
It's at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. AM?
Yep.
Great. And what time does it end on that first day?
I think about 11 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. And then click save.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, and then you can add days 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. All right, the last thing that I'm going to do is pop into this. Can we change that? I don't remember if I can change that particular background here, which is enabled. And good, and I can also do that. So same idea. So we always adjust the login page just in case. You're ideally going to want to be sending people to their magic link, but on the off chance that somebody finds their way to the login page, we always do style that as well.
Okay.
Welcome to the event. Save, and then here I also change this stuff. Border radius, change that to 0, and width that.
So if they fill in their information here, like they've accidentally for some reason got here, where does that send them?
It sends them to the dashboard. It's a login page.
But if they had to buy a ticket to get into this event,
then they should go to the sales page. There's no reason for them to have gotten to this page. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that at 0 and change that. You can, is this a paid event or is it a free event? Remind me, Liz.
It's a paid event.
Okay, got it. You can create a sign up page on the event, but it's really only intended for free events, so that wouldn't do you very much good. The other thing I would do, are you planning on doing a waiver or tech check step?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Are both or just one?
No, both.
Both. Okay, great. Okay. So, and are you planning on doing an intake form with questions or, pardon me?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Width, there we go. Wait, taller. Actually, I'm gonna make these buttons yellow, don't we? Yeah. Okay, so to make the changes to the make changes to the waiver step or to the waiver itself, you hover over the waiver, click the gear, and this is where you would paste in your waiver.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
And I'm going to for the intake form, I'm going to go for the questions. I'm going to go to forms. I'm going to create a new form, and I'm going to call it waiver step. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say submitted. This stuff doesn't matter on the waiver step because the attendee won't see it. Required. And then I'm going to add a question for you that is radio button question 1 and call it radio 1 and add a few options. You just come in when you know what this stuff is and update it. You can add additional questions if you want. I'm going to just go up to the top and click save and pop over to the waiver step and select that particular form.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to the dashboard and update my blog post colors to basically all be black because that's where label text, input border color, input border, input color there, helper text, that stuff doesn't matter for that particular one. Now when I go to the waiver step, my colors are the right color. Okay. We're going to enable it. Preview. Okay, so then we're going to go in here, check in step 1. And I'm going to change this to be the green. Actually, I think that will look better if it's the other green, the lighter one. Is that one? Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to change the icon color to also be the lighter green. And then we're going to go to tech check. We're going to enable that. And then go into Zoom areas. How many people are you thinking you're going to have for your event?
50.
Okay. And how many people are you going to have do tech check? Just my guess is just 1, 2. Okay, great. So we'll have a room for each of your tech check operators. Then we'll go to tech check, make sure that the tech check step is selected. And then I'm going to modify this to be the right color, which is yellow. Go. Change our text color and adjust the height of this to match and change the width. This is, you're going to want a little bit of detail about the check-in step on this page. And again, anything on the dashboard, can be easily modified just by hovering over it, clicking the gear, editing the text, and clicking save.
Okay, great.
So all of that stuff can be adjusted by you. Then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into settings for your event, and I'm going to turn on allow email only login. The reason for that is on the actual login page itself, I want people to not need a password if an attendee gets there. I want them to be able to just enter in their email address and have that be enough to get them into the event.
How do I, what if I've got 2 people that want to use the same email?
You don't have that.
That can't happen?
You don't want that. No.
So it'll just say, no, sorry, you're out.
I mean, it'll allow them to log in, but only one of them will be able to get into Zoom.
Okay.
So,
yep,
yeah, I mean, unless that's something that you really, really want, which I wouldn't recommend, but there is an option to turn that safety feature off, essentially.
Yeah. No, I didn't want that. I just don't want, like, if you buy a ticket, it's one person per ticket, right? So
it is, yeah. Now it's multiple people per dashboard. Like if 1,000 people got the email address of an attendee, they would all be able to get onto the dashboard, but only one of them would be able to get into Zoom. Okay. So we don't limit access to the dashboard by, in terms of the number of logins. The main reason for that is you may get it somebody who wants to log into Zoom on their computer, but log into the dashboard on their phone or whatever. Yeah. So, so one of the last things that I do when I'm building a dashboard is I check to see how it looks as an attendee, because the preview pages are great, or the preview setting is great, but it's important to really look at it as an attendee. So how you do that is just creating an attendee and going in and logging in as that attendee. This is going to be what the attendee sees the first time they log in. So first off, we're going to see what's it called? The first thing we're going to see is the waiver step. And then once the waiver step is signed, then we'll see the tech check step. And then I'll need to bypass that because I want to see the actual dashboard itself.
Okay, great.
So give me a moment. Okay, so sorry, let me share my screen. So this is the waiver step. Click the checkbox. So one of the things that I'm noticing on this page, this yellow is as a checkbox is hard to see. So I'm going to go back to the waiver step, hover over that, and change the color of that to be the light green, because I think that'll be easier to see. Yeah, that's better. Now that's not going to change right here, right now, but it will change within a couple of minutes. So I'm going to pick option 1, and then I'm going to sign it and click next step. And this here, if I click complete my check-in, that'll take me into Zoom. But because there's nobody there to check me in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the attendee that I created, and I'm going to click this little check-in button.
Yeah.
And once I do, the actual check-in page will get refreshed, and it will send me up on the dashboard itself. So it'll send me over to the dashboard. And now I've got essentially a quick look at what this looks like as of right now.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then if I can click on your hosts, double check to make sure that looks the way intended. Go back to main. Yeah, I'm not sure about that white on the hover. I actually think that I kind of want to make it just a dark gray. So I'm going to take the main color and just lighten it up a little bit. I think that's going to be better than that.
Okay.
Hey, Blue, on their sales page, when they rolled over the buttons, it turns the background to white and just leaves the text black.
Yeah, I know. I don't really like that, so I'm not.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
You can do that. No, I saw that. I mean, we can do that. You know, you can actually change the you can change the hover color to just be white, and then not change. So, to Justin's point, not change the text color and just have it do that.
Yeah.
So you can do that if you want.
Okay.
You know, in the end, it's your dashboard, so I don't have ownership over that decision. But that's what that would look like. It's
Okay,
actually
great.
not bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any changes, or are you good with that as a starting point?
I think that's great as a starting point. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So,
And then the last thing that I usually do is I'm going to click log out and just double check to make sure that the actual login page itself looks the way I want it to. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
So in regards to that picture of Shane in the background, and that bar that sort of sits over the top of his head, how would we fix that?
You would not fix that. That's going to be something that we have to fix.
Okay.
Because what's going on right now is here. If what's happening is on the main page, in order to, like on the actual dashboard, in order to get it to look like this, which is what you want, you have to eliminate the header background color.
Okay.
But on the subsequent pages, the speakers, the sponsors, the header continues to exist.
Okay.
And the header background color needs to be in position in order for that not to look wonky.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to disconnect those settings. So that's going to be something that we have to do programmatically, just essentially make a change to the platform. And hopefully we'll be able to make that change before, definitely before your event takes place in June. But I'll just say by early next week, we should be able to make that change.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to make one other change, which is, go ahead.
One thing I would change is on that login page, it still says first time here and something about the password, but you don't have the password enabled any longer.
Oh, sorry, that color was off. Deleted. Actually, you know what? What I would do here is I would say enter the email address you registered for the event with above to log in. There we go.
What about the sign up? What's the actual sign up?
The sign up actually doesn't actually show. Like when you preview, it's gone.
Okay.
So the sign up link only shows up if the sign up page is enabled, which it's not. So when you preview it, it's not there. And actually, when you go to the main page, it's not there either.
Can you center that or that's just only one way?
You can't.
Okay.
Not, yeah. There's some things that you can do, some things that you can't, and the styling on that particular, you're talking about the helper text, the login information. Yeah, as of right now, you can't. You may be able to do it with some CSS inside of scripts, but just natively, no, you can't do that.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, back to you, Grant.
Nice work. Oh, thank you. Nice work. It's very cool. It's very helpful for everyone. We may even snip that out and post it separately like we did recently, because people like watching those and learning something. So as long as you're okay with that, Liz, I don't think there was anything too private about that setup. Cool, great. Sweet. All right. I don't think there was any other questions posted. Are there any other questions that people have come up with? Examples are awesome. Yeah. Any other questions? No, everyone's just still taking that in. That's good. I'll do a final little check. Any questions posted? Otherwise, we may be calling this one. You're in awe. Yeah. Yep. Makes sense. Yeah. No other questions have been posted. So,
well, and honestly, to that point, I appreciate you saying that, Jaylene. And I think the point of it is, like, it doesn't take long to customize your dashboard to look like you, right? And while I know, admittedly, I know how the dashboard system works, right? So it takes me a lot less time than it takes most people because we build dashboards every week. I think the thing that you should be most in awe of is how easy it is to create a dashboard that looks like you, and that you could do that, right? I mean, it's not hard for you to do. It is not a special, like, oh my God, skill set that Blue has or that Grant has or that Justin has. I think it's a function of the platform being fairly easy to use. Once you get into it, once you roll up your sleeves and start playing, yeah, it's fairly easy to use. But thank you for saying that.
I totally agree. I also do think that Blue has a good eye. And so,
well, and Grant is constantly in awe of me, so that I understand. Grant being in awe of me, I understand.
You're used to that,
Jaylene. I don't want you to be.
You're used to that. Yeah. So, but I think what often happens is copying designs. You know, you totally can. Okay, that looks great, and so now I'm gonna copy that, change out a few things, and make it mine. Go ahead, right? Like that's absolutely the thing to do. And because I think at any time, it's because at some point it is a craft and it's an art. And at some point you can look at all the tools, you can look at the paintbrushes and go, what am I going to paint? But there is something about looking at a completed piece of art and copying that and switching it out for yours. And so I think that's where it's really helpful to look at different designs and be able to copy them. So,
for sure.
All right. Thank you, everyone. You can join us again next week. You can, as I said a few times, you can post your questions anytime during the week, right? You can just click this same link and post a question. And then even if you don't make it, you can still watch the recording afterwards. And we'll try to answer the question as best we can. So you can join us again next week at 5 o'clock Eastern. And in the meantime, you can email us at help@obv.io. Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Bye.